So friends, there was a fleeting moment when the Fox network got it right, when they called the 2020 presidential election for Joe Biden. But not to worry, they fixed that problem because Fox is now solidly back to getting it wrong. Let's talk about that, because justice matters. Hey all, Glenn Kirshner here. So friends, the Fox network is the un-American, undemocratic gift that just keeps on giving. New York Times reporter Peter Baker somehow got a hold of a recording of a Zoom meeting. A Zoom meeting that was attended by Fox executives and Fox anchors in the days after Fox called the 2020 presidential election for Joe Biden. And when I read Peter Baker's reporting, all I could say was, wow. Here is some of that New York Times article by Peter Baker. Headline: Inside the Panic at Fox News After the 2020 Election. And that article begins, a little more than a week after television networks called the 2020 presidential election for Joe Biden, top executives and anchors at Fox News held an after-action meeting to figure out how they had messed up. Not because they had gotten the key call wrong, but because they had gotten it right. And they had gotten it right before anyone else. Typically, it's a point of pride for a news network to be the first to project election winners. But Fox is no typical news network. And in the days following the 2020 vote, it was besieged with angry protests, not only from President Donald Trump's camp, but from its own viewers, because it had called the battleground state of Arizona for Mr. Biden. Never mind that the call was correct. Fox executives worried that they would lose viewers to hard-right competitors like Newsmax. And so, on Monday, November 16, 2020, Suzanne Scott, the chief executive of Fox News Media, and Jay Wallace, the network's president, convened a meeting for an extraordinary discussion with an unusual goal, according to a recording of the call reviewed by the New York Times, how to keep from angering the network's conservative audience again by calling an election for a Democrat before the competition. Can't you just see it, friends? At Fox, a call went out, emergency meeting. We have to see how we messed up by getting it right, by accurately informing the American people who won the election. You know, friends, when I read that, it prompted me to post the following. Fox calling for an emergency meeting to discuss how they messed up by correctly calling the election for Biden is like a team of surgeons calling an emergency meeting at the conclusion of the surgery to discuss how they messed up by saving the patient. Fox endangers America. But not to worry, friends, because it looks like Fox anchor Tucker Carlson is hard at work fixing the problem of getting things right. Because now what he's doing is he's playing isolated snippets of video from January 6th, and he's back on the job of misleading his audience. For example, this new reporting from CNN, Tucker Carlson claimed that new Capitol security footage taken on January 6th shows Jacob Chansley, known as the QAnon shaman, you remember that particular idiot, showing Jacob Chansley walking through the Capitol without pushback from police. Now, mind you, Chansley pleaded guilty to a felony charge of obstructing the Electoral College proceedings on January 6th and was sentenced to 41 months in prison. So even Jacob Chansley acknowledged in court under oath by pleading guilty that he committed a pretty significant felony in his determination to overthrow our democracy, to stop the certification of Joe Biden's win. But Tucker Carlson played for his audience an isolated clip, a moment in time when apparently the police were not trying to put hands on the QAnon shaman. Well, let's remember that the police officers were outnumbered something like 1,000 to 1. So is it surprising that there are some clips of what happened on January 6th that involve police officers not putting hands on every insurrectionist at every moment that day? I guess, a police officer should have put his hands on Jacob Chansley only to have 1,000 rioters on his back. I think the chief of the Capitol Police got it right in responding to Tucker Carlson's absurd and obscene misleading spin. This from the Washington Post. Capitol Police Chief blasts Tucker Carlson over misleading January 6 footage. And that article begins, after watching the first installment of Fox News host Tucker Carlson's look at Capitol surveillance video from the January 6 riot, U.S. Capitol Police Chief Tom Manger sent out a memo to his department Tuesday morning denouncing the show as filled with offensive and misleading conclusions. The claim by Carlson that Capitol Police served as tour guides for Jacob Chansley, the horn-wearing QAnon shaman, was outrageous and false, Manger wrote. He said that the Capitol Police were badly outnumbered on January 6th and that those officers did their best to use de-escalation tactics to try to talk rioters into getting each other to leave the building. Some of the video aired by Carlson showed Chansley being accompanied by several Capitol Police officers as they walked through the hall during the riot. One of the officers was previously featured in a 2021 HBO documentary, 4 Hours at the Capitol, and said that the sheer number of them compared to us, I knew ahead there was no way we could all get physical with them, so I took it upon myself to try to talk to them. The officer is then seen on video walking behind Chansley as Chansley walks into the Senate chamber. Friends, Tucker Carlson showing video clips in isolation is nothing more than sleight of hand, intending to deceive. It actually reminded me of when I was trying cases and I was fortunate enough to have video surveillance of the crime being committed. That happens sometimes. And to meet the force of that really damaging video evidence, the defense would sometimes offer a video clip from earlier in the day, maybe an hour before the offense, showing the defendant doing something completely innocuous, maybe going through the drive-thru at McDonald's, getting himself a burger. And the defense would argue, see, he's not doing anything wrong there. He's not committing any crimes there. Yeah, that's just a little bit of sleight of hand intending to deceive, and jurors saw right through it. Now, I don't know how gullible or how easily manipulated Tucker Carlson thinks his audience is. I know he doesn't respect them, because if he did, he wouldn't mislead them. And I do think we also need to call on the executive branch and its many agencies to do something. Find a way to push back. FCC, if you're listening, find a way to address the dangerous lies that Tucker Carlson and the Fox network continue to spread. Because justice matters. Friends, as always, please stay safe, please stay tuned, and I look forward to talking with you all again soon.